How do you feel? Do you think it was smart or dumb by Jerry Jones to trade Micah Parsons?
Obviously, as you could just see, this was the first smart, bold, ballsy move that Jerry Jones has made in 30 years. And I want to be very clear about this. I am not second guessing this with some lame, weak second guess. I have been first guessing this for 2 long years. I've said overhyped, overrated, and please, Jerry, please don't ridiculously, dangerously overpay Micah Parsons. More trouble than worth, because in the end, he hasn't wrecked a game since his rookie year when he took the league by storm until the league figured out, oh, wait, he's just a finesse, flash and dash speed quickness rusher. We can run at him and we can neutralize him. And he became a liability against the run. In 4 playoff games, when they got run off the field, Micah Parsons has 1 sack in 4 playoff games. And guess when it came? It came, you know Tampa Bay, you started there. It came late in a game at Tampa, a playoff game in which the Cowboys were ahead 31-14 against the 8-9 Buccaneers, who had stolen their division because they had a 45-year-old Tom Brady at quarterback. That's his only sack in 4 playoff games, 3 of which he completely no-showed in. The worst no-show of his career was, ironically, against the Green Bay Packers. I don't know, did they not watch this tape? Because he put up the worst numbers of his career against Green Bay in the playoff game. So I'm seeing a guy who, since he came in the league, is 5th in sacks, he's 5th in quarterback hits, which is not bad, until you start saying, well, wait a second, he cares more about his podcast than he does about winning football games. Yeah. He got blasted by veterans in the locker room for just that. He was not a leader, he's not a cold-blooded killer, he's not a physical football player, and in the end, I say good riddance and good luck to the Green Bay Packers.
I feel that, Skip.
Woo!
Wow.
I feel that, Skip.
Hey! He lost me when he said smart. I'm sorry, Skip. I tuned out when you said smart because I didn't know trading a generational talent was actually smart for your franchise. Cleveland lost LeBron. They sucked until LeBron came back.
Yep.
Shaq left. Orlando wasn't considered anything until, was it Dwight Howard?
Okay.
Then you got the Red Sox, right?
Okay.
They got rid of who?
Babe Ruth?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
86 years it took them to get back to relevant. So you think you can trade the gold standard of his position? Would you have traded Myles Garrett?
Nope.
Okay. Would you have traded T.J. Watt?
In the heck, no.
Of course not. But
nope. Keep going.
But at the same 4-year period, Parsons was better.
That's debatable.
He was a better player. He's the only one that's trekking in Reggie White's footsteps, with 12 sacks for the first 4 years of his career. I just don't understand when has it actually helped you in your franchise when you let the best player go. And I because he's not good at the rush.
Stopping the run.
Run.
Yeah.
What does he get paid to do?
Rush that pass.
But the passer. That's his job. Like to get the dude that is his job is not to actually stop the run game. That's not his expertise. He's decent at it, but he's not great. But what he's great at, he does a great job at it. I think last year, he was 2nd or 3rd in percentage-wise of putting pressure on the quarterback. This is like blaming Steph Curry because their team couldn't rebound. I mean, it's just you're taking someone out of his element and blaming him for the overall success of a defensive assignment, right? His job, he does his job very, very well. It's like buying a Lamborghini and complaining that it's too loud. The job of it is to be flashy and loud, and that's what he did to the best of his ability.
Okay, but did LeBron win for Cleveland? Yeah, he took them to the finals. Didn't win the championship the first go-around, but, right? And didn't Shaq do great things for Orlando? Got them. He took them to the finals, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So what did Micah Parsons do to carry Dallas in the playoffs? What did he ever do?
They was in the playoffs for 3 out of his 4 years. I mean, so
okay.
First you got to get to the tournament to win the chip. You got to enter the tournament first.
All right.
But I'm kind of neutral on it, bro. I'm like, man, hey, Tom got to tell. Tom got to tell if this was a dumb trade, if it was a smart trade, if the Packers come out and send the Cowboys home again and Parsons have a Von Miller-esque run, then it was a dumbass trade.
Well,
now,
do you think that's going to happen?
I don't know. It's everything we talking about is hypothetical with this because you want it to be immediate impact, but the shit just happened. They got like a whole bunch of future stuff for it. So look, if the cap room turned into DeMarcus Ware, Aqib Talib, T.J. Ward, and Emmanuel Sanders like it did for the Broncos, then it's a fucking great trade. If the draft picks turn into Emmitt Smith, Kevin Smith, Russell Maryland, and Darren Woodson, then it's a fucking great trade. But like I said, if the Packers have a mean-ass run and he do some Von Miller shit and win the Super Bowl, then it's a fucking terrible trade. So we can't jump the gun. You got to sit back and watch on this one.
So let's get into I'm listening to what everybody's saying. And you said, was it smart by Jerry? Let's get into the psyche of franchises in the NFL.
Right.
Who do they trade with? The Packers, okay? What did they get? Kenny Clark. The Cowboys got Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks.
Right.
Was it smart by Jerry? Yes. Let me tell you why. Every organization doesn't value draft picks the same. The Green Bay Packers haven't drafted well, but the Green Bay Packers are in win now mode. You know how I know that? Because they broke a 21-year streak of drafting a first-round wide receiver and got Matthew Golden. They know their quarterback needs a number 1 wide receiver, okay? Last year, they were top 10 in defense, but they were 22nd in pressure rate. The Packers haven't drafted well. So what are they saying? We drafted Devontae Wyatt to replace who? Kenny Clark. We send him off to Dallas. Dallas needs somebody that can help them stop the run. We're good there. What do we need help with? Pass rush. We don't draft well. So draft picks are hit or miss. But you know who's not hit or miss for what we need? Micah. He specializes in what we need. In Dallas, over the last 4 years, they've averaged giving up 122 yards on the ground. In November and December in the NFL, in order to win, Keeb has won a Super Bowl. He knows you have to run the ball and stop the run. The Cowboys have been horrible at that. So now let's switch to Jerry's mindset as the Cowboys. Jerry said, we need to be better at stopping the run. This makes us better. The Cowboys value draft picks. You know how I know that? Because they draft well. Since 2019, CeeDee Lamb, All-Pro. Trevon Diggs, All-Pro. Micah Parsons, All-Pro. Tyler Smith, All-Pro. Deron Bland, All-Pro. You can, all the way back, the Cowboys draft well. So Jerry said our team got better because now we save money. We got 2 first-round picks, and we got Kenny Clark to help us now. Let's be real about this. They weren't going to be that good anyway. So we're giving up Micah Parsons. He's been here this whole time. We still can't stop the run. To answer your question, you said he's a pass rush specialist. In football, for the most part, he's going to specialize on 3rd down. If you're in 3rd and 2 or 3, they're not going to pass the ball. So why are we going to pay this guy all of this money? Because Micah getting paid the highest we've ever seen, non-quarterback, is not based off him being the best defensive player in football. It's based off, it's his time. This is the market, and he's up.
Right.
So we have to think about that too. Jerry's not saying this, they 2-3 years into the contract. Now, forget that. We paying this guy right now because look at what he's paying him the money was going to pay him because it's the time now. So I agree. When Jerry says we just got better, whether Micah was here or not, it did not change our defense. He was a pass rush specialist. Skip is not lying. Micah doesn't play the run well. I watch defensive linemen. They run right at him. He's not taking on blocks. He's overlaying stuff, and it's not slowing anything down.
Did Von Miller play the run well?
No, but you know who did? You know who did? Pot roast.
Yeah.
Malik Jackson,
that's
they
the
ain't got
point.
that.
It ain't Parsons' fucking job to play the run well.
Okay,
You know
but
what I'm saying?
listen.
Get some other people to play the run well, but in big games, did Von Miller tear that shit up and leave his stamp on it?
In games.
That's what Parsons type guys
listen
are
to
for.
what you just said, though. Who was over there? You was there.
Yeah.
Chris Harris was there. TJ was in the back. Y'all had a full defensive line. Y'all didn't have issues stopping the run. He's one guy. And then what happened? Dallas, look at how Jerry built his teams.
Yeah.
Skip, you was there. The 3 most prominent names in the history of the Cowboys. A quarterback, Troy Aikman, a running back, Emmitt Smith, and Michael Irvin in the Super Bowl run in the 90s.
Okay, but who was the most valuable player on that team? Seriously.
On the defense?
On
that
the
side of the
team. On the team. What will they all say now? We couldn't have won without Charles Haley.
Exactly.
He was the baddest ass pass rusher I ever saw. And trust me, he could play the run.
Yep.
He was a force on that side. You didn't screw around with that side of the football field. You didn't screw around with Lawrence Taylor, who could rush the passer like nobody ever saw, but he could stop the run. Last year, they gave up against the run. Early in the year, New Orleans, which became the worst team in the league at the end of the year, they went into Dallas and ran for 190 yards in the second game. Third game of the year, Baltimore goes in there with a game plan of wherever 11 is, we're going to run at 11. Because he backpedals like a DB when you run at him. It's like he's covering Tyreek backpedaling. That's what he looks like. I'm serious.
That makes sense, though.
All right, and then 2 Philadelphia games last year. They ran for 187 and 179 against Micah on the football field. I can just go down chapter verse. He was a liability, and it hurts the locker room. It hurts the defensive huddle because they know what's happening, and he doesn't care. There's no killer will to him. He's not a physical football player.
All right, Skip.
You were a physical football player. You were a physical football player. He is not. He is all finesse.
All right, so now that he gone, the Cowboys gonna pop out to be a top 10 run defense, right?
Hell no.
We don't fucking know.
Help.
No.
He gonna help, but we don't know. So we want it to be immediate, like, oh, he traded him, it's great. But if they fucking trash against the run still, if they still trash against the run, if he strike out on the free agency signings that he gonna do, if he strike out on the draft picks, then shit, it was a fucking terrible trade. If he hit on them, it's a good trade. So everything is hypothetical. We don't know what the fuck gonna happen.
Also, look at Cowboys fans are up in arms about this. But I don't know why you're up in arms about this when Jerry has had a formula for 30 years of how he builds teams. He had, seriously, think about it.
That shit
you just talked about Charles Haley. But Charles Haley was brought in.
He was.
Deion Sanders was brought in.
He was.
But how did he build his team? I'm going to have my quarterback, my running back, my wide receiver, but he builds every team around what position? The O-line. The 90s, we can say the Cowboys' 90s offensive line, a lot of people agree, are arguably the greatest offensive lines we've ever seen. When they had a resurgence, what did they do? They brought in Tyron Smith, Travis Frederick, and Zach Martin.
They did.
They had Darren McFadden, who was a dynamo at Arkansas. He couldn't sniff 1,000 yards in the league. What did he do when he got behind this line?
1,000.
Got 1,000 yards. DeMarco Murray, incredible player, offensive player of the year behind the offensive line. This is what he's done. Then he just so happened to stumble in the deck. Zeke, behind the offensive line, led the league 3 years in a row in rushing.
He did.
He already had Dez Bryant. Then he's bringing in pieces around that. Jason Witten was already there. Let's go to right now. What is Jerry doing? He's drafted offensive linemen to build around the quarterback. And then what did he prioritize? He brought in George Pickens. So now I got my offensive line in place. I got my quarterback. Got my 2 wide receivers. It's plug and play back there, running back. Now I start piecing around. I can't do that if I get this one person all this money. But you know what I can do? I can bring in Kenny Clark, who knows how to stop the run, in the middle where they've struggled at D-tackle, 2 first-round picks because we draft well, and now I can spread this money around to build my team. That's how Jerry's always worked.
I'm an offensive guy. How much does he weigh? About 245? Right?
About 250.
Yeah, so if you're Baltimore and you have Derrick Henry back there, I'm going to target the guy who's going to try to walk me down. I want to go right at him because I know he can't stop me going full. That makes sense.
Got it.
Barkley, that makes sense. You're going to just run through his chest. This is no different than Rudy Gobert, right? He is a great defender at the basket.
Okay.
Right.
Pick and roll, bring him out here.
You're
We're going
right.
to target him. That is not a penalty against that guy. It's a sign of respect, right? We know what he's weak at, and we're going to target it because we don't want him to affect the rest of the game.
Right.
Understand.
So if his job is to stop the running back from hitting on the outside, what do you think is going to happen now? When he's gone and you're plugging in the middle, where do you think they're going to run now? Outside.
They're going to run that Dante
Yeah,
Fowler
this
now.
is going to run on the outside. It's going to be the same thing.
So
Yeah, but
you're
that-
still firm on it was dumb. You're set on that. Dumb by Jerry Jones.
If you can spell Cowboys and dumb, it's they
Dumb.
go together.
Okay,
It's dumb.
okay.
It's been dumb for 30 years.
But it's
Like,
the
it's
same,
30
right?
years.
Dumb.
So like
30
this
years.
blueprint he's been
Right.
doing for 30 years hasn't worked.
Okay.
It
This
did
is
work
not
before.
the 90s.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Go a level deeper. You three were locker room leaders. The closest thing.
Nah, I
Skip,
agree with that.
Whoa, Skip. You heard about my locker room stuff. That wasn't my job.
You know what? But those
Nah, for
guys
real.
looked up to you as a scorer. They did, because you could go get 50 on any given night. So they're going to listen to you.
Hell yeah.
DeMarcus Lawrence was the closest thing this team had to a leader. He was hurt all last year, and then he took another nice deal. He's late in his career, and he went to Seattle. And he told the Seattle media, my home's in Dallas, but I left because I'm never going to win a Super Bowl in Dallas. And Micah fired back at him and said, that's some clown shit on Twitter. And DeMarcus Lawrence fired back at Micah on Twitter, and he said, well, if you didn't tweet so much and cared more about winning, maybe I would have stayed. Okay, so that's a leader in the locker room sending the message that he was at least as concerned about his social media image
Yeah.
and impact as he was leading that team in a playoff game. And then I go back 1 year to my friend Keyshawn Johnson, had Malik Hooker, the safety, who was a first-round pick. He's a 15th overall pick out of Ohio State. A pretty good player, fairly well respected in the locker room. And he said to Keyshawn on the podcast that if I had any advice for Micah, because we're having such a problem with the run game, why are you so focused on your podcast instead of on fixing our run defense? Okay, listen, nobody in the Cleveland locker room, no veteran ripped Myles Garrett. TJ Watt doesn't get ripped by his teammates. Nick Bosa doesn't get ripped. Trey Hendrickson, I can go down the list. That was significant to me that veteran leaders in the locker room took public shots
Nah, for real.
at Micah Parsons. That's all I needed to know. They're not buying into his psyche, his approach, his commitment. He's obviously, to your point, he's supremely gifted. He ran 4.39 at 250 pounds. Okay, you can't find that. It doesn't grow on Southern California palm trees, right? But you can find commitment, leadership, dedication, and I'm talking about cold-blooded killers. That's what you guys know this. You have to have that to play this game.
Got to.
I didn't see it in him. I don't care how fast you can run at how big you are. If you don't really care about being the best football player you can be and leading the Dallas Cowboys to a playoff win, I'm not going to pay you a fourth of my cap. I'm not going to give you more guaranteed money than all but 6 quarterbacks are getting right now because it will be a killer to my team. I'm a Cowboy fan, lifelong diehard since I was 10 years old. I didn't want to give Micah a fourth of the cap because I'd go for 5 more years just throwing up my hands watching them get run off the football field. Okay, the leaders were speaking. And if you guys spoke out against a young, talented player, I would listen. If you spoke out against a first-round draft pick who wasn't dedicating himself to the process of becoming great, I would listen to what you were saying because you know what it took to be able to score 50 a game in the National Basketball Association.
Well, clearly you guys are divided. YouTube, though, 59% are saying dumb move.
Yeah, of course.
But
No
let's
surprise.
pivot. Let's pivot.
Everybody hates it.
Yeah,
I'm
because
just saying.
Let's pivot.
That's down right even. That's 50-50 for real.
But you're attacking his character
Nah.
like it's suffering in the game. He is still excellent in the game.
Well,
At one specific skill.
Maturing.
At one specific skill.
The skill that he does.
You're asking to be paid as the highest non-quarterback. So if you're a defender, especially a defensive lineman, their best run defender is now in Seattle. His name is DeMarcus Lawrence. Okay, he's gone.
There you go.
You're asking to be paid as the best defensive player. You're being paid that because it's your time, but you are a pass
just
rush
like everybody else, though.
specialist. But what I'm saying is, to his point, you're a pass rush specialist. If we cannot get to the point where we need you to specialize in what you specialize in,
Right.
then we haven't improved in this area. So we can't even capitalize on who you are because we haven't improved here. But if I have all this money, then I can spread it around because, okay, so I'm going to pay this guy. He's getting 12 sacks a year. That's excellent. Or I can spread the money around, get a couple guys that are solid team guys that can, all I need you to come in and do is play the run. That's all I need you. It's team building. Y'all had a team. When y'all won, y'all had a team. You can point to not the 4 starters, but the 2 people on the bench. Right. You like, hey, we need them because when he out, I know all we need him to do is be good on first, second down. D-Law coming in, Bond coming in, Malik is back. We good. Give him a spell. They ain't got that. So you need money to go out and get that. So plus you got 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark.
To Skip point, in football gear, that locker room shit is crucial.
It matters.
If you ain't got no good locker room, then the vibe on the field is just not gonna work. I don't give a fuck what kind of talent you got out there. Football is a communication.
It is.
If I can't communicate with you, if I can't tell you, hey, get your motherfucking ass. If you get mad at me and now we beef, we gonna be trash. So I don't really know what kind of teammate he was. He did a lot of podcast shit to me. I feel like
he did.
A lot of people was frowned upon that podcast shit he was doing. So I do feel like they cleaned the locker room up. They got better in that way as far as cleaning the locker room up. You know what I'm saying?
So it clearly.
I'm telling you, that shit matter, Gil.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That shit
am I the
crucial.
only one who watched the Cowboys, Doc?
Nah, I watched it.
You watched it, right?
Locked in.
It was locked in, right?
Hell yeah.
You was
Yeah,
locked
it was
in?
great. It was
Yep.
So him doing podcasting is frowned upon.
Because he's saying shit,
They
Gil,
got whole 8 balls being done on a team that was winning championships.
But that ain't got nothing to do with that. Ain't got nothing to do with the vibe.
What I'm saying,
maybe it was 10 to 12 of them doing.
Of course, because the whole damn team was high. But that makes sense.
But when you go on the podcast,
but if the whole team is high, that mean we doing it
we
together.
vibe. So Gil,
We all high.
Bingo.
We doing it together. You
That's
getting
like-
high?
that's
I'm
like a
getting
motherfucker-
high.
They were bonding.
So we
They
all
were
high.
bonding.
Gil, that's like a motherfucker going on a podcast, a young guy on your team,
Yeah,
and they saying name the top shooting guards. He named everybody but Gil. Like motherfucker, you gonna look at him in the locker room like, nigga, I ain't one of the top shooting guards, nigga, I'll slap the shit out you, fam. Like, that's how Dak looking at you naming the top 10 quarterbacks, Dak not in it. Like, you just creating friction in the locker room.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
frowned
okay,
upon,
no, I
fam.
get
Like,
that.
you know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
yeah, you
You fucking up the vibe in here, fam. We need a vibe to win this chip.
You're supposed to lie on
You're
your
supposed to
team.
lie. You gotta lie on your podcast, even if you don't fuck with that. You gotta lie, fam. Just say Dak. Put him at number 2, number 3,
you gotta,
at least.
yeah.
But you being too damn out
All
of
right, all right.
By 1995, they were so supremely talented because they added Dion that Barry Switzer was the head coach, and his motto was win the game, win the party. So he encouraged all that camaraderie off the field, all that White House stuff.
Fun.
Yeah, I
Gotta party. Hey,
An hour podcast.
Hi, Richie, got a party.
14 hours of partying.
Gotta
I'll take the podcast.
Okay, clearly it wasn't worth it to Jerry Jones to pay Micah, so we didn't. Let's pivot. Let's talk about a different player.